Well, hi and welcome to the very last Brontëlong vlog. It is 1 week before Christmas. I already have my Grinch sweater on, even though I'm the farthest away from a Grinch. I have prolonged this long enough and it is time for me to do this now. I need to read The Professor. And 1 hour ago I thought I cannot read a book that I will most likely hate during Christmas, so I better get a move on. So tonight, I'm starting The Professor and I am not looking forward to it. The first time I read The Professor, I gave it 2 stars. I had one hope and one hope only for me changing my mind on that book, and that was Sarah, my co-host for the Brontëlong, one of my co-hosts, that she liked it because she is the biggest one of the biggest Charlotte Brontë fans I know. And I felt if Sarah loves The Professor, then there is hope for me. I'm not going to spoil her vlog, but my hope died, is all I'm going to say. So I don't know how to do this now, because there's no hope that I will like it. And I don't want to hate read a Brontë book. I'm going to have to read it because we have a live show, and I skimmed through the middle the first time I read it. And I feel like if I'm going to participate in a live show for a read-along I'm hosting, I should at least read the whole book thoroughly. Okay, hi, welcome back in my kitchen. Day 2 of reading The Professor. Big surprise! Okay, wait. Big surprise, I find the main protagonist as annoying as I can remember. I will make this vlog spoiler free, so it can just be entertaining of me reading a book I don't want to read and I don't like. We meet our main character, William Crimsworth. I forgot his name. So we meet this man and he needs to find himself an occupation, so he goes to his estranged brother where he asks for a job, and his brother works in trade, and he is so condescending towards working as a clerk, which it is portrayed in a way that it is horrible work. I can see some of Charlotte Bronte's opinions about work and about how certain establishments treat their employees from her personal experience, mainly working in schools, and how the conditions were incredibly horrible. And you see definitely the exploration of William Crimsworth and his options, which are not many, but definitely more than Charlotte Brontë had as a woman. But the thing I hate about his main character, and I think everyone kind of dislikes, is that he is such a judgmental character. And the way that he judges other characters is purely towards the way that they look. Sometimes a little bit behavior, but he uses their physiognomy as ways of telling whether they are good or bad. And now that he has traveled to Brussels, we get so much prejudice. It's insane. So this character is really, if you're English, you're the best. If you're French, you're kind of nice. But if you are Flemish, then oh dear, you are everything that is animal-like. William Crimsworth basically thinks that Flemish people are animals, and that French people are quite elegant, but English people are superior. He describes Flemish people as having short memories, dense intelligence, feeble reflective powers. Wonderful. And later, when he notices some prejudice against Flemish people in the school that he works, he says in French like, oh, but they are just Flemish, who cares? Charming, absolutely charming. When it talks about labor, Charlotte Brontë really puts very heavily on that it's just a terrible option and basically you should just be rich. But this is what our main character has to say about it when he leaves the occupation he had with his brother. I leave a prison, I leave a tyrant, I leave what is worse than the worst that can lie before me, so no fear of my coming back. I am appreciating the language a bit more, I think, because I've now read all the other novels by Charlotte Brontë. I do appreciate the language in The Professor a little bit more. First time around I listened to the audiobook, and now I'm also listening to the audiobook, but also reading physically. If you want to give this a go, which I don't think you will if you've watched this book to the end, but there is an audiobook where the narrator translates all the French after he has said it in French, which wonderful. If you've seen my Villette vlog, you know that I had a struggle with flipping through the back of my book for all the damn translations. So that is great. I'm going to read a little bit more of this. I honestly cannot imagine that I have anything good to say about this book, but who knows, maybe it will surprise me. Unfortunately, I had to put the professor down again because currently I'm on chapter 12, and chapter 12 is a chapter where we just get a lot of descriptions of people's appearance. And it's a chapter, I think it has like almost 20 or 30 pages. It is so big, nothing happens, and it's just William Cramsworth, whom I still despise, roasting people based on their appearance, and it is tedious. I haven't picked the book up in 2 days because of that very reason. But I should finish it because it's almost Christmas and I do not want to read a book I do not like on Christmas, which I feel like is the motivation for this vlog. I've been delaying finishing this for long enough. I'm on chapter 14 right now, halfway through. It is 4:45 in the afternoon, so I'm going to read for an hour, make dinner, have dinner, finish it tonight. We're doing this because the live show is next week and I need to get cracking.
Rusty red on her shoulder, I was cleaning her shoe when it clicked on the trot over in the bright morning dew. We brushed and we braided dandelions and chewed. It was a mutual arrangement we both saw into. But can she walk in the fire? Can she run in the rain? Can she make it up the mountainside? Can she make it down again? I have often wondered if she'll go and jump the fence. Will she keep on moving onward or stay?
I think the main thing with this book is that the plot is quite fun, especially in this part of the book, but the writing is just insufferable. The xenophobia, the sexism, it's just insane. And constantly, like, it's physiological. Oh my gosh, I cannot say the word, but there's this word that you use when you use the way someone looks to determine what kind of person they are, and that is like repeated every 2 pages. So the shape of her head too was different, the superior part more developed, the base considerably less. Like, who cares, like, honestly? And then there is this attitude of a lot of women who feel like our main character, who is a man, is superior to everything. And she's like, men have so much more influence than women have. They argue so much more illogically than we do. And you, monsieur, in particular, have so paramount of power of making yourself obeyed. Like, bar. And then we have a love interest of the main character. I remember her being the love interest. And I quite like her. Her discussions are interesting, even though she, like, that was her dialogue I just read, which is incredibly annoying. And the most hilarious thing is that our main character is falling for her because she has something English, like her mother who passed away is English. That is the attraction he has to her, and she says that she wants to go back to England because even though she will have a boring life, it will be an English life, and she misses to live amongst Protestants because they are so much more honest. Let's see. She literally says here, I would rather submit to English pride than to Flemish coarseness. Besides, monsieur, I long to live once more among Protestants. They are more honest than Catholics. If Charlotte Brontë would just not do that, she learned, I think, when she wrote Jane Eyre. The plot is really quite fun. The plot is very similar to Villette. Yeah, I'm gonna read another half hour and then I'm gonna cook. Wow, I only had dinner and I have my chair back. Yeah, you're so cute, I know. I know you're having time of your life. Mommy wants to read more, John.
Even still, I remember knowing she could feel it too. Was a mutual arrangement, we both knew what to do. She had a star on her forehead that was easy to find.
You ate the book! Oh, Nora!
We had a deep
She ate the book!
Never had to use
Nora, that is very naughty. That is very, very naughty.
arrangement and an honest respect. Can she walk in the fire? Can she run in the rain? Can she make it up the mountainside? Can she make it down again? I have often wondered if she'll go and jump the fence. Will she keep on moving onward or stay in what could have been? Will she keep on moving onward or stay
I am right
in
now
what
on
could
chapter
have
23. And I have to say, it actually gets kind of better the farther you get into this book, which just shows that DNFing is not always the best of ideas, because I partly DNF this. I am not good at DNFing. Usually when I do it, I skip the middle and like read the last chapter, so I kind of feel like I know what happened in the book. But that meant that the first time reading this, I really missed out on character development as far as this character can develop, because he becomes less prejudiced even towards Flemings, which he passionately hates. Early in this novel, and Dutch people as well, which of course I take personally. He just becomes nicer, and there's this one quote at the end of chapter 22 after he has an interaction with a Dutchman and the Dutchman helps him out with getting a job. He says, "I went away with its sunshine in my heart." So I call that character development. The thing that kind of made it better for me the last couple of chapters was the interaction with the love interest. I think if the focus had been more on that throughout the entire novel, this would generally be more an enjoyable novel for me. I have 50 pages left. I'm going to read that right now. Hopefully I won't fall asleep, because chapter 22 was really boring, because it was again a conversation between two men that made no sense at all, didn't add anything to the story, so I basically kind of fell asleep. Let's hope we get some romantic tension in here in the last chapters, because I don't really remember the second half of the book at all. It's still a 2-star. It was a 2-star on my first read. I contemplated giving it 1 star, but then I kind of enjoyed the last couple of chapters, which would make it more of a 3-star, unless I really end up liking the last 50 pages. It could possibly be a 3-star, but no, I think it's still a 2-star. So with Nora taking a bite out of my book, which, you know, if she's going to take a bite out of any book, might as well be this one. Quite unexpectedly, I really like the ending. I think the ending took quite an interesting take, and I cannot really talk about that spoiler-free, so I'll talk about that during the live show. But certain choices were made, and I think it added quite a lot to the story. So how do you review a book that you hated the first 150 pages for, and you quite liked the last 100 pages? I mean, I think it's going to end on a 2.5 star for me. I definitely liked it more than when I read it the first time, because I read all of it and I saw that character development that's definitely present. I really like the love interest, and she has very interesting discussions, and the way that her needs and her aspirations are discussed, I feel are very prominent to the way that Charlotte Brontë thought as well. An unlikable character says that literature should never be the stuff of woman's life, and that is of course a letter that Charlotte got from a male poet that is super famous. So you can definitely see how she used that love interest, her character, to express some of her own wishes and feelings, I think. And I like that. Definitely want to discuss that during the live show. Maybe the live show will already have been once I upload this vlog. I will leave a link down below either way of the live show that you can watch back if you want to, or that you can join on the 13th. I'm going to leave this vlog here for now. It is a mixed bag, isn't it? My expectations were so low for this book that I am pleasantly surprised, but I still kind of hate the book. Which is a difficult position to be in. I know that Sarah didn't hate it. I know Mary will loathe it. So we're going to have an interesting discussion, which will be our last discussion for the Brontëlong. Thank you so much for watching all of these vlogs, or for watching some of the vlogs, for joining some of the live shows. It's been an absolute joy. thank you so much to Mary and Sarah for doing this together. It's been so much fun. You have both become such good friends, and so has Lucy, who has joined us in many of the Brontëlong live shows as well. But since she is not hosting, she had the privilege of skipping the books that she didn't feel like, which, Lucy, that was like well thought out. For now, thank you so much for watching this vlog, and I hope to see you in another video. Doei!